So another mark or characteristic of a follower of Jesus is knowing who you're supposed to represent Jesus to, where you live, where you work, and where you play. We call that the person of peace tool. It's based upon teachings from John 10 and Luke chapter 9, as well as Luke chapter 10 as well. So hopefully you've heard that teaching. Someone else has imparted that to you. What I want to do now is to draw a tool that's connected to that teaching that can help us remember and apply to our lives and ultimately know how to share this with other people. This tool is simply all about naming the people of peace in your life. That was actually the language of Jesus in Luke chapter 9. He said, find the persons of peace. He sent out his disciples 2 by 2. And he said, I want you to find persons of peace. And here's the way, in a modern day translation, I would say this is what Jesus told them to look for. He said, first of all, look for people that like you. People that welcome you in. Like in that particular instance, he would have them knock on doors. And if someone warmly greeted them and invited them in, so that was one thing they were looking for. Not only someone that likes you, but someone that listens to you. Someone that returns your peace to you. So, you know, back in the first century, people would say, you know, may God's peace be upon you. And then if it was a person of peace, they would say, and may that peace be upon you as well. So these are people that like you and listen to you. A third very interesting thing is people that serve you, people that like to help you in any way. So let's just pause with that concept for a moment, because you're like, wait a minute, I think I'm supposed to be serving other people. True, but when you're looking for persons of peace, you want to also identify people that are trying to help you in some way. For example, when Jesus in Luke 9 says, when you go in, you find someone that likes you and listens to you and they invite you in your home, you know, then watch and see if they prepare a meal for you and just they demonstrate hospitality to you. For example, one of my neighbors called me several months ago, and he didn't call me, rather, he came next door because I was out working in my yard, and he noticed, you know, I don't have the best yard tools on the planet. And so he noticed that. He came over, he said, David, I can help sharpen your blades as well as provide you with a couple of other tools I think that can make your yard look even better, because I know what you want to do with that, all right? So that's an example of someone that, while I'm there in the neighborhood to serve him, that's an example of his also wanting to serve me. So what we want to think about are who are the people that we need to share the mission of God with. The gospel of God, the discipleship of Him. Now, if you use this tool just a couple of times a year, you will never, ever run out of people to share the mission with and disciple. Do you remember back long, long ago in a faraway place, the people would tell you, go door to door and just knock on people's doors. And whether or not they like you or listen to you, want to serve you, just immediately begin to blurt out the gospel. Well, that's not what we're talking about here, because that wasn't Jesus' pattern. When Jesus was sending out his disciples to help impact the world and expand the kingdom of God, he said, look for the men and women of peace in your life. So here's a real practical way that you can go about that. First of all, let's just start in the category of the home. All right, category of the home. So write this down, or it should be there in your participant guide as well. So write down 3-5 different names of people in your immediate or maybe your extended family, okay, that live in your home or come into your home on a regular basis. It could even be several friends of your family members. See, sometimes we don't realize that we can be able to impact those that we live closest to. That we all know we can live with people that don't necessarily like us and don't necessarily listen to us. So all we're trying to do is to write out 3 to 5 names of people that God's placed there in our home. Let's move to the second category, okay? So it has to do with our neighbors, the people that live around you in your neighborhood. So write down 3 to 5 names of people in your neighborhood. Who are the people that live next to you or across the street from you or down the road from you? These could also be people that maybe you see at the pool. So let's just pause there for a moment. in my particular neighborhood, there's a community pool that people regularly gather in. So when I think about who are the 3 to 5 people that like me, listen to me, want to engage with me on a regular basis, I want to think through my neighborhood like that. I think through my specific neighbors like Walt, who lives on one side of me. I think about Rob, who lives on the other side of me, that offered me his tools the other day. So those are examples of names I would want you to write down there when it comes to your neighborhood. Let's look at the third category, work. All right? Who are your coworkers and regular customers or clients? I want you to write down 3 to 5 names of the people that are there that are part of your work, that you have some level of influence with. You are in some sort of support role, or they're in some sort of support role with you. So write those out when it comes to work. The fourth category is the area of play or hobbies. The people you get together with for recreation and hobbies. Write down 3 to 5 names of the people you do some form of recreation with. Like maybe you play golf, or you like to hike or bike, or you like to paint. Who are those people that you have similar interest with? Write down 3 to 5 of their names right here, okay? So those are 4 categories. We're trying to find who are the persons of peace that God's placed in our life. Let's look at the 5th category, church, the people you worship with and serve with. Write down 3 to 5 names of the people you regularly see at church. Who among them might need to have the mission of God expanded in their lives? Who are the new people that have come to your church that you've met recently? So list 3 to 5 of their names right here under this category. Now let's move to the 6th category. The 6th category is around my favorite places. So where are the places where you tend to be a patron, the staff, the businesses that you regularly frequent? Being able to write down 3 to 5 of the names of those people at some of your favorite places. It could be like in a coffee shop that you go to, or you see at the park regularly, or you see at the grocery store. But you're regularly interacting with that business as a client or as a customer, something like that, your favorite places. The next category is school. Your classmates, if you're a student or your parents of students, if you're a parent or maybe even if you're faculty, write down 3 to 5 names of people that you regularly see at the school in that particular context. And then the last category, just question marks there, is other. Anywhere else that you're involved in your community, including divine appointments that you see that God specifically and uniquely set up for you to represent Him. So write down 3 to 5 names of the people that you regularly see and where it doesn't fit any of these other categories. Listen, most people have no idea how many people are regularly in their life. People they regularly see, have some level of influence with. These are people that you can uniquely live out the gospel with and potentially disciple. Now, some people go through this tool and have a few people on the list besides the church. But that's when you know you've been living an isolated life. You need to get out more. It can also cause you to realize that maybe the most spiritual thing you can do next is to go join a club or some type of other activity that gets you out of your normal house and church routine. So here are some things I want you to do with this. Once you make out this list, what I want you to do, as you're looking for the persons of peace, I want you to ask yourself the question of each person on this list. Are they moving toward me in relationship? Or right now in this season, they're tending to move away from me? Or are they neutral? So use one of those categories. They're either moving toward you, away from you, or neutral, and place one of those categories under each one of those names that you've listed, okay? So some of the people that are moving toward you will prove to be your persons of peace. Yet different persons of peace engage in discipleship with you in different ways. Some act like family, people who have created a shared life with you, or they want to. Learn to invite them to be your companions as you go and do and build. That's exactly what Jesus did. Some people aren't family, they're more followers. These are people that see something in your life that they want themselves. And you can invite them to be, a part of your disciple-making group or context. Some move beyond that, and there are people that serve you, and you're supposed to serve them. And you just need to probe further to really find out if they're family or followers in disguise. So what I want you to do is reflect on the value that you bring, that you can provide in their lives just by being who God's uniquely made you to be. What are they drawn toward in you? How can you help them? What you might invite them in to do. So I've shared with you a couple other tools that complement this tool. We've talked in another session about the sweet spot of sentence tool. Helps me identify that sweet spot where it seems like God's trying to send me. We've also looked at creating a vision craft statement, a vision challenge statement. You can use that with the persons of peace in your life that we've listed here. So you might have 30, 40, 50 different names on this list. Then I'd ask you to go through and categorize each one of them as people that are currently moving toward you or away from you, or they're just neutral toward you. Then I want to collect the names of the people that are moving toward me and pray and say, God, who are those people are you seeking to send me into? How can I go into their life and their world with the right kind of vision challenge statement that we looked at together in the other tool, and be able to invite them? This is me practically thinking about how can I be on mission every day where I live, work, or play. You do this once or twice a year, and then pray through the list, and then issue some invitations. You'll be blown away in the next several years how God has used you to impact the lives of other people and be an even more effective difference maker.